Jossci, you are just back from Indonesia, right? You were busy with a new film.
Yeah, that's correct.
And 1 year ago, you started here at this festival to crowdfund your film. Can you tell something about what is your film about?
Sure. My film is about two Indonesians who live in the Netherlands. Young people. They have a relation together, and they travel to Indonesia for the very first time to discover their roots. That's basically what the story is about. And last year I was indeed here to crowdfund for that film, to get the money to go to Indonesia, to film there for 10 days, and to get back here and then edit it and soon release it. My hopes were actually to release it here, but it's still in post-production, so it's not done yet, unfortunately.
And can you tell me more about the reason why you wanted to make this film?
Yes. Well, there are several reasons. One, because I'm also myself, I'm also interested in my own roots, of course, because I'm a mixed Indonesian as well. But besides that, I was found that there were not a lot of stories about Indonesians in the Netherlands, and especially not about the current generation. We had just a few films here who talked about the third generation and the current generation. Well, and that's true, because there is not a lot of stories about them, and that's why I wanted to make a film about that, about this current generation that lives now and that's interested in their roots.
How many students with an Asian background are there coming annually?
Well, there aren't so much. In my remembrance, all the years I already worked at school, I think there are only 1, 2, 3, 4 people with an Asian background. I saw in your film, I think the editor was Andy Loss. I think Andy Loss has some Asian background, I'm not sure. Oh, he's half Japanese. So, but it's very, very few, really, very few.
And is there a kind of policy at the Film Academy to stimulate more people with a different background to study film?
Well, what we did a few years is that we went to the schools where we knew that there were multicultural classes. And we try to stimulate young people to go to the film school. And the effect of this policy was really not so very big. So we didn't saw in the numbers of or Asian or people from which background that they wanted to come to the film school. I think my experience is that the Dutch film school, the Film Academy, is still a white school. Most of the people who are inside the school are from Dutch families and Dutch background.
Ernie was the script coach of the 3 Film Lab films. We had this script, kind of speed course, script writing in 2 weeks. And how do you look at this kind of projects, Film Lab?
How do I look at it? What do you mean?
Because we are talking about stimulating Asian filmmakers to make a film, so that's the goal of Film Lab. How did you experience this?
Well, I think Film Lab has that you have a public which the Film Academy doesn't have. So, for example, the people who are now in the Film Lab and the people, I think, who are at the festival, I don't think they are very connected to the film school.
No, but it's also that there are, I know some Asian filmmakers, but they don't necessarily choose Asian subjects.
No, because...
So that's something else, I think, that is also interesting.
Yeah.
You could say that I'm always looking for some stories of strangers.
Yeah, so... Yeah, is that the way your background influences your stories? So you are...
I don't think the background influences the stories, but I think that my choice of stories is very broad because I can understand people that live in between cultures, that grew up with several languages, that have these kind of conflicts.
The actors are here. Maybe Arvin, can you? I heard from Tami that you both also helped with re-editing the script.
No, we didn't really help. We just discussed about what is real, what is so we can easily connect with our character. Because, for example, in the script, it was written that a typical Filipino of this type will not say it that way. Is it true?
Yeah, and also they added, we talked a lot about the dialogues and the scenes that were with them together, and the many changes were in what they said, how they said it, but also like a gay Filipino living in Holland will not talk about this or will not say that, and I have no idea. So they helped me to fill the content of the conversations. And later on, when I started with the casting, I started meeting Filipinos every day, like 40 or 50 of them I met. So, and I asked them their stories, how did they get to Holland and what they were doing. And then it started to come alive because then I got the real stories. And then when I chose them together, we went over that and made it even more.
Gerald, how was it for you to play this role?
For me, it's I think it's one of the most fascinating experiences I've had because I never really did any acting. I'm not really an actor, and then it was also in between time when I was looking for a job, and also I just get to meet this ad about Filipino actors, and then I just tried. So for me, this experience is, it's one of the most fascinating experiences. It's also for the Dutch audience, it's also quite, what I like is how that for the first time you show something about Filipino because the Dutch are more related to Indonesian culture. So I think it's nice to show that there's also other culture outside.
Yeah,
But after Haiyan, the Dutch are also now related to us.
Yeah, how can we develop more scriptwriters to stimulate to write real Asian characters like this?
Well, I think what they did with Tami and Cecile is very important because, as I understood, Cecile started the story, but to have this reality in it, you really need the advices and the feedback. I think that's an important thing to involve them also in the building of the script.
Yeah. So, do you think it's almost impossible to write it just in your room, write a story about this kind of characters?
No, I don't think it's impossible because I think many Dutch people do that. They write about other peoples and other countries, but in a certain moment in the development of the script, you need the people from that country or that region about where the story is about.
Like we are talking about this Asian diaspora stories in Holland, but in Korea it's quite how do you say it, a homogenic society. But there's still, I think last year there are more other Asians from Southeast Asia. How does this modern Asia look like, and are there any films made about this Asian diaspora in Korea?
Korea is how do you call it? How do you call it? We are very focused on one race people, only Korean people, and nowadays also film industry is very commercialized. So rather to give a message to the people, they are more and more very commercialized. So actually only just the film industry, they are actually not focused on about the multicultural things. Those kind of the focusing is getting less and less actually. But in the society-wise, the people are more and more interested in mixed cultural society of people, those kind of things in Korea.
영화로서 가치 있는 영화.
Nowadays, as the Korea, they are trying to work together with Japan or China. It's like a joint film, like with another country, neighbor country. But however, they don't want to show that it is some about the country. They just want to make it some film. It's nothing to do with we are working together, Korea, China. But they are just focused only we are making film. So actually about race or culture, those kind of things is actually not that important as well.
No.
About relationships between Vietnamese and Koreans, and I've heard that it was quite popular even.
Actually, as you know, Korea had a war in 1950, the Korean War. So it was a hot topic. I think a few years ago there was a good theme to making a film about North Korea, about the war, those kind of thing. But about Vietnam, we don't.
Yeah, I think the reference to Vietnam wasn't the Vietnam War. It was more recent, because if you go to Vietnam or if you go to Mongolia, there's a big presence because of Korean business. I mean, it's easier to find a Korean restaurant in Ulaanbaatar than anything else. And so there's also, in case of Vietnam, for example, a lot of intermarriage with Vietnamese women. So that could be a subject that automatically also leads to a form of diaspora in Korea.
According to her, the Korean market itself is pretty small. So nowadays, the tendency of the Korean film industry, they are trying to making some, for example, romance story with a Korean guy, with a Chinese or Korean guy with a Vietnamese, actually to get more market to export their film to their country, but not more than that.
Well, I would like to thank all my guests for being here and all the audience for being here too. Please give them another applause.